Return to open session. There was no action taken in closed session to report out. Was there any public comments? No public comments. Okay, we will go to the superintendent's board report.
I don't have a written report, but there's been lots of things happening. So I'm going to give you 3 documents. I gave you the air quality metrics, and then the other thing I have is just so that you have the calendar to know that we have 5 snow days built in, and we will use them because today we called off school for the rest of the week for a number of factors. So what we'll do is next month have the board adopt the new adjusted calendar. I just wanted to give you the report about all of the networking and consulting that's happened in making the decision to close school this week, including the knob fire and the impacts to students and staff. It's significant, the continued poor air quality and our inability to consistently have students outside for some respite so that we can keep kids out of the classroom a little bit, have some changes to their environment, have mask breaks, things like that, and eating. So school is canceled for the entire week. We have those days built in. I've already been in communication with the California Department of Ed about what happens if we need to have days in the future, but that's pretty standard. There's our waivers. I'm just trying to get some guidance of how an emergency is determined. Usually it's determined at the local level. So the calendar will be updated. We'll take the snow and smoke days out and serve those days at the end of the year. The other 2 documents that I gave you, just so that you can, oh, sure.
I think one of the important factors in closing school for the whole week was that before everybody got here, Jen was asking those of us here what our opinions were, what should she do, and she had people waiting outside for information. One of the things that was important to me is that with staff and some teachers being out, we would not be able to implement our COVID protocols properly in the classrooms and not be able to take the students outside. So we've got these 2 conflicting issues, and it's not all smoke because I don't know what the smoke is downriver. Willow Creek is really being impacted, but for the rest of the week, I think with our employees being impacted, evacuations, and it's affecting teachers as well as classified, that it would not be in the students' best interest to bring them to school if we weren't fully staffed and we're not able to fully implement our COVID procedures. So I think that's very important part of that decision. Excuse me for interrupting.
No, thank you, because it's just been kind of a whirlwind of getting these updates. And then the other thing at this moment is people were trying to make decisions, families and staff, about what next, and the idea of packing up and leaving for a day and coming back and forth. And so just so that there can be some direction. And I do think that once we realized there would be a safety issue with knowing that some staff would be out. And it's just, again, even though it's impacting one region more of the district because we have a network of services, it really throws everything off. So we hope everybody is getting notices about school closures. We're trying to get it on social media, sending it out for a regular school information system. Social media is good. That's really helpful. Oh, no, and then the other part is that, again, as Laura said, these kind of conflicting issues of, we want to have kids in school, and one of the safe ways to have children and staff in school is to do as much as we can outdoors. A big push from the California Department of Ed, do everything outdoors. Well, they're not here. Where clearly there's a safety issue for having kids outdoors. So that was, I've been in conversations with A. Gomez and Dr. Smith and just kind of saying, what is the level? And I just wanted to share the air quality chart because it's quite low where you start in terms of the numbers and what we get. If you look at the one that says recommendations for schools and others responsible for children, we get up into that orange area quite a bit. And this is just what I just handed out. And so thinking about children being sensitive, a sensitive group because they're growing. So that's been another thing that drove the decision for this week. The other document is just so that you can see what the Hoopa TIPA, I put it up in the upper left corner, that's from Hoopa TIPA. So there's the two different air quality charts, but those colorings and the categories are pretty typical, but you see they don't line up exactly. We generally go with the more conservative one, which is the North Coast Air Quality Districts.
This is the area that we're in the orange then in this area?
Depends on the time of day. The shifting winds have really made it, it has been really significant. The wind has cleared the smoke out of the valley and then contributes to fire activity, and then it reverses and the smoke comes in and
Coastal smoke comes out.
so I primarily wanted to give you a health and safety update. And then you'd ask for just attendance and enrollment. So we have on the first day, we had 980 students enrolled across the district. 734 that were marked present. And that's the only day that I had the snapshot of. We know that we had a really under-enrolled kindergarten. And in fact, during the week, kindergarten applications were put in. I mean, we had one class where I think there were 5 students enrolled. So the kindergarten roundup did not happen in ways that I know it's happened in traditional years. We had some preschool events planned along with the tribe, and we were at each of the schools, which we had to cancel because the COVID levels just went up so high. So I think that impacted our outreach because we had these community events planned that we're going to have after. I'll let you know when. So anything else that you have questions for me?
So I was just curious about the high school. Was it higher than last year?
It is. There was a bubble of incoming. There's 2 factors. There's the younger classes are larger, and the number of students that are enrolled at Captain John is quite low because they don't start. A lot of them don't start there and transition over. So the end of the year, high school numbers were a lot lower than the beginning of the year because kids enter in the high school and then through
But
an agreement.
overall, of all the high school, Captain John, the high school, the numbers.
The number's still higher because we have this photo
Oh,
of the
that's
freshmen. Ed said he thinks that he thought it was 30 higher in the enrollment. So that was correct.
Anything
I
else?
could ask a COVID question.
Okay.
So if you compare the community to the size of our district, and how much higher are we in COVID cases? Do we have any numbers on that? Like comparatively, we have a community of 1,400 and you have this many COVID cases. And so if we found another community with 1,400 and compared the number of COVID cases, has anybody done that?
I think we did acquire that. Like it would be like the positive case rate or
Yeah,
or
like
the
to
numbers
see,
per.
are
We know how many there are in certain areas, but I don't know that.
Oh, I have a question. Lily has a question.
So the numbers for Hoopa today, we currently have 63 active cases. We have 12 new cases today. So we have 63 total. And then we have 3 people from Hoopa.
So I have a question for you, Lily. Are the school sites positive cases included in that? Because I heard this morning in OS meeting, I heard them say that they had that many cases of who felt that the school's positive cases were not included in this number. That they had nobody communicating those numbers. So are we following through with our communication?
No, not the guidelines, we reported from high school, we have cases, if the testing happens.
So who do you report that to?
Now we're gonna report it to, Nina, and we can report it to.
She reported last week the positive cases, so I don't know if it's just an onset.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking is that when is it getting reported and who is responsible for reporting? So Nina is reporting that to Cologne Medical Center.
And the county, yeah.
So I just wanted to be sure that the school district's
No,
numbers are being reflected in the report from Cologne.
Have we had any, evidence of any school, acquiring COVID at school? Or is it just, you guys were testing?
We're testing the athletes, so basically we're testing 1 out of 3 students at the high school. And in the last 2 weeks, we had 8 positive cases.
Because what I heard was that kids were exposed. Today, a lady said, well, my granddaughter was exposed and nobody called from the school and we didn't know. And now she's, I don't know what to do with her because her friend's school and, they called it and she's been exposed.
And
Nobody called.
what grade level?
I think it was at the high school. Maybe to do with volleyball.
That's been our biggest hit so far.
So I guess that's what I would like, I'm asking you, Jen, is what is the protocol when somebody tests positive and athlete? Can you call everybody's parents on the team who they've been exposed to? What's the protocol?
so it's the contact tracing, so they first need to decide, who is a close contact. And
So who's
then,
doing that is what I'm asking.
oh, yeah, now the school administrators.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
principals are responsible for that.
Yeah. That's a lot, we're gonna want to share that burden, but it keeps it, the principals are going to know, keeps it in a small group of people that know. So that's also another issue of how many people, they may designate an attendance secretary. We're gonna see, it depends on what the day is, the high school principal, one night just
Right.
made 1,000,000 calls and stuff.
So when are we going to have that though? Because it's happening now and our kids are going to get at risk now. I have a son that's playing football, and I didn't know anybody tested positive. I wasn't contacting, and he's been practicing in the gym and he's been practicing, so I have some real concerns about the follow through on those positive contacts. I'm concerned and think we need to be sure that we have somebody that's responsible for that. That is principal.
And we worked on shoring up the guidance and having a very clear path of what we do if there's a staff member.
Do you
what we
have
if
that?
they- Yeah.
I would like to see. I can see who it is that's responsible for each.
I have it right here, so I can share that. And that's really important because there's a lot of players. It's notifying the county. So what the county is asking is for the schools to do a preliminary recommendation, basically a quarantine or an isolation, but we're calling it a preliminary because we do not make the order. The county makes the quarantine and isolation order. They issue the order, they do the check-in, have in the last 10 days, have you developed any symptoms? And they release the person. But we're, and
So you're not contacting the families and the parents, the county.
we are
Okay,
because,
that's what I'm-
no, we have to, basically, when the nurse was making calls, she was days ahead of the county. And so they do their job, but we can have a quicker response.
I just wanted to be sure
Yeah,
that.
and they have asked for that because they just can't handle the volume. So we can right away, same day, contact the families but we don't say, we don't order any medical orders, of course, but we can say, here's how many days you should expect you'll be notified and you have to stay home for this many days. I think another part of it, I had a conversation with Dr. Smith and just having some shared messaging about how important it is for people to follow the quarantine orders and follow isolation orders. I hear stories, but I don't have anything confirmed about people violating their orders. Like, I was feeling better, so I decided to go out, go to school. So I think that the athletic program has really served to detect what's being transmitted, and that way we have we kind of have a stopgap, and we can stop a child from being in the classroom. We can notify a family if their kid is tested positive. So I know it's alarming with the numbers, but those students were positive, and we were able to detect it.
And that wasn't transmitted from school.
We had
brought
no-
it from home because we didn't work this session that day. Good. Any other? I'm trying to move this along.
Yeah. You good, Will? Okay.
Okay, consent agenda, approve resolution 12, the establishment of Fund 08, Student Activities Special Revenue Fund.
Oh, that.
Pardon?
I move to approve.
And I second that.
Okay, KTJUSD, 30 seconds, discussion.
Oh, we had on consent, actually.
Any questions, any discussion?
Question, I know I'm trying to find it. I had to see
It's on
it.
consent, so I don't know if it is discussion. It's a consent item. That's the only one.
I move to approve the consent item.
Okay,
Roll call vote.
George? Yes.
Yes.
Myers? Chopra?
Yeah.
McLaughlin? Aye.
Motion is approved. Okay, discussion items, review required safety protocols for COVID-19 to allow the public to attend in-person board meetings. So this is a discussion. Now the state is saying that what deadline do we have for September?
Yeah, our September meeting meets, we can still do Zoom meetings. We make the deadline for when the Brown Act provision.
So I have a lot of people really even saying that to me about they want to come to our board meetings, they want to, but then I'm surprised that there were no public comments tonight because of all the stuff I've been hearing. I expected to see like a whole list of people with comment because everybody that I know has been saying, welcome to board meetings and we want to know about this and that, and yet nobody said anything. So, but I have felt like that we should open up to the public, and since we're opening the schools and kids are in school, then we need to be protocols and everything. But I think this place is too small. I think we're going to get inundated with so many people that it's not going to be safe. There's no way that we can have safety in this place.
And I did have asked Jan or Carmi to double check with David Ellie about our YouTube transmission. Because I think that has been a very good avenue for community to see what we were doing, what we are doing. They can look at the YouTube anytime on the website. But what I'm hearing is what you have to say about all of the equipment, if we move it somewhere else, it's
No, I don't mean to travel. I mean just someplace here in the valley, like either at the cafeteria or one other place that's going to be bigger than this room. Because I think if you're going to say public in town, there's not enough room in this place.
The other issue is if we have a cafeteria, we have to give staff time to decontaminate it and everything before kids come back the next morning. Open the windows.
Well, and one suggestion that was given to me is, allow whatever space would be allowed for people there. And then some people could wait outside, which that would work until October.
How would we?
Well, as far as the comment, Vanna, they said they can push their desk closer to there. And then you can go, if you want to have 3 feet apart in each chair, then have a couple rows. And then if it's the air quality is good, you can have your door open, have a window open for cross ventilation. Also, you guys need to have a HEPA filter here going, and then one back here. So you guys have 2 for this room going, so we keep the air circulating. And then if they want to come in, you guys, district officer has the temperature, takes a photo and tests the temperature. Then you would have a table for hand sanitizer, sanitize your hand. You would take their name down and ask them the questions. Symptoms. So then, if somebody did come positive in the room, we'd know who to contact. So you would have their name, last name, and then who to contact. So you can probably get.
Is it possible any way that I don't know how. I'm just thinking that would give more room for.
And before your next board meeting, I can set the chairs up, and spaced out.
I think it might be a good idea to try to do this in September, so that we can limit the number to see how many people we can actually do and then provide them for everybody else. Because in October, we're going to be open. So if we can try this for our next meeting, limiting the number of people that actually have it.
So, as far as putting anybody up there, you would not be able to run a camera.
Is the situation.
Absolutely wrong.
What about if we put you in?
You choose one of your desk over there. couldn't you?
I would like to try to
my back.
Chair.
At the audience.
So how would you, so how would you like it set up? And if the camera is gonna look out of that corner, then it's gonna have
Okay, you can move the camera over there, and then you could have your desks there. Or you could figure it
It's
out.
all, we're all in there right now, it's just you folks down there aren't, but if your
But it-
desk were sitting over there.
to, doesn't like the back.
So we have to.
We're gonna have to horseshoe
Lap around.
so you're facing the audience then.
I'll be over in the corner.
So we're all facing the audience.
So you'll all be facing the audience.
We just have to shift over and Jen might have to go over there.
We configure the desks too.
Yeah.
We take up a lot of space just so that, apart from one another. Because it originally were these, right? were two
Yeah, and
people.
just so figure out how many people can be in here with, like you said, 3 feet apart. And then let the, public know that these are the amount of people that are going to be allowed. Hopefully everybody that comes would be, vaccinated too.
Or that I have a mask on.
Yeah, and wear masking. Oh, yeah, definitely. wear masks.
We would probably know.
There may be people that just want to come in to give their public comment and not stay, and some people who want to sit and observe and not, so there's gonna be probably some in and out.
And there will be a lot of people that have now gotten used to Zoom and will be familiar and stand with it. But I understand, for a lot of people, it's almost undoable, live up here and your internet's in and out. And then you have to email, you have to attach to an email your public comment. Some people, just don't have to check their email. Not. So, yeah, I like the idea.
I remember also try that curfew. We should try that there separate consideration.
I think our meeting needs to be earlier because we need to be out of here.
Yeah, we've got to be out of here by 9:30. Okay, so
9.
consensus is the next meeting we will try.
The 14th.
I make a motion to adjourn. Deb moves to adjourn. I second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you, David.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you. Good night, you guys.
Night.